Look, I don't know how much you already know about her, but this involves a cat named Satan. This story is so freaking wild, and this has to be where the correlation from witches and cats actually comes from. So this pamphlet is the earliest surviving record of witchcraft prosecution in England. And yes, I read the whole thing, and yes, I'm about to summarize it for you guys. Now, Agnes was one of the first women executed under the Witchcraft Act of 1562 in England. Now, there are 3 confessions in this pamphlet: Elizabeth Francis, Agnes Waterhouse, and her daughter, Joan Waterhouse. But we're going to kick things off with Elizabeth Francis, because that's where the cat started. So Elizabeth said at the age of 12 she was taught witchcraft by her grandmother, and her grandmother told her she had to renounce the name of God and that she had to give her blood to Satan, who appeared as a white cat with black spots. And she was taught how to feed the cat bread, milk, and drops of her blood in exchange for things that she wanted. So years later, she wanted to marry this rich guy, Andrew, and Satan told her that she had to let Andrew abuse her, and so she did. Andrew abused her, and then he still would not marry her. So when he wouldn't marry her, she asked Satan to kill him. And Andrew died, but turns out she was pregnant with Andrew's kid, so she asked Satan to get rid of the baby, and Satan instructed her on how to consume certain herbs to get rid of the child. She asked Satan for a new husband, and she ends up married to this guy, Francis, and her life was not as quiet as she desired. She had a 6-month-old baby, and she asked the cat to then kill the child. But then I guess she got tired of her husband Francis and wanted him dead, so then Satan appeared in the form of a toad. She put the toad in his shoe, and when his foot touched it, that leg became lame, and he could not heal, and he ended up dying. So she keeps the cat for 15 or 16 years, and then on her way to the community oven, she runs into Agnes Waterhouse, in which she trades the cat for cake. So she gives Agnes the rundown on how to give the cat blood to get what she desires, and Agnes tests it out by asking the cat to kill one of her hogs. Her hog dies, she feeds the cat chicken and blood. So then she said a neighbor pissed her off, she had 3 of his hogs killed. Another neighbor pissed her off, she had their cow drown. Another neighbor pissed her off, she had 3 of their geese killed. One of her neighbors denied her butter, she had their whole batch of butter go bad. So another neighbor and his wife pissed her off, and she asked Satan to kill the guy, and he died. So Joan, her daughter, who was 18 at the time of the confession, said that her mother never taught her witchcraft. But one day when she was gone, she saw her neighbor, who was a child, Agnes Brown, and she asked Agnes for bread and cheese, and Agnes was like, no. So Joan went home and started calling for Satan. Well, she said that Satan appeared to her as a black dog, and she asked him to go scare Agnes Brown. He asked her what she would give him in return, and she said, a red rooster, and he was like, no, I want your body and soul. And she got really scared and just wanted to be rid of him, so she agreed. Well, now the courts call in Agnes Brown for questioning, and Agnes Brown, who was 7 years old at the time, said she was out churning butter, and a black dog with the face of an ape, a chin, and a pair of horns with a silver whistle around its neck and the key to her milk house in its mouth appeared in front of her. And that the dog asked her for butter and she said no, and he said he was going to take it anyway, and the dog went and unlocked the milk house door, and that when he came out, he said he made butter and locked the door. So she tells her mom, and her mom calls the priest. Well, so Agnes Brown claimed that the dog came back a few days in a row and that she would pray in the name of Jesus in front of him, and he would say, do not speak those evil words. And then one day he came back with a knife in his mouth and told her he was going to stab her in the heart, and he said he would not drop his dame's knife, and she said, who is your dame? And he wagged his head toward Agnes Waterhouse's house. Well, Joan Waterhouse is like, Agnes is a big fat liar, and it had the face of a dog. Now, they asked Agnes Waterhouse to summon the dog, and she said she couldn't, she had let him go, and they asked her when was the last time Satan had sucked blood from her face and hands, and she said it had been a fortnight, which is 2 weeks, by the way. And then the jury went and met together. So Agnes Waterhouse was found guilty of witchcraft, and she was hung July 29th, 1566. Joan, her daughter, was let off the hook. But what happened to Elizabeth Francis? She was sentenced to some time in prison, but then was tried for witchcraft again in 1572 or 1573, to which she then served another prison sentence. And then in 1579, Elizabeth Francis was tried again for witchcraft and hung.